So we have this, and if you look at the original dimension drawing, this is supposed to be curved, and it has the sides of the curve. It has R, and then it has a 10. So R stands for radius. If you don't have a complete circle, they typically give the radius. You usually only give a diameter if it's a complete circle, because otherwise you don't technically have a diameter. And so the radius here is 10. We're going to use a feature called a fillet. So right here, there it is, fillet. Okay, we see that? Yes or yeah? Yep. And you can click on this line right here and apply it, and then you just type in the radius. Very easy. Now, I don't think you'll have any issues with this, but hypothetically, if the radius was a really big number, you might get an error when trying to create it. If you're trying to round something with a radius bigger than the size of the thing itself. So if this radius was much more than 20, you might run into some issues, okay? But yeah, if you put it at 10 here first, and then you click on it, that would alleviate that problem. Do you have any questions? That's a yeah. Okay, that's pretty easy. I'll remind you, you can right click on their parts down here, because there could be multiple parts. And you can color this, make it transparent. Remember, you can right click and choose add appearance to face if you want to make certain surfaces different. Lots of options here on what you can do. If you want to hide those planes in the origin, if you want to change this to be shaded without edges, you do you, okay? But that might clean it up some before you take your screenshot. In a moment, I'm going to start the next and the last part before we move on to our puzzle cube project.
Oh, you're right.
Wait, how do you change the lines again on your shape?
The render options, this cube to the bottom and right of the view cube, there's render options. Shaded with edges is the default. Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's a
Okay. Going to be moving on very soon.
It's one of those top.
I know that you have to put in your notebook, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time because I don't have to do that, but I know that you guys do. So I'll give you a moment.
Look over the movie was there. You look over there the second. Sorry, we're going over this Twitch call.
I'm not even upset. I just think it's funny. These guys, these dudes.
You literally, you looked over at the rock and there was nobody there, and then you looked again and there's two people standing.
Louis been gone a really long time. Well, I don't have any problem with students going to the bathroom, but I thought he has to go get a drink of water.
Did he say that?
I mean, understand that I'm not going out there fact checking if you're getting a drink versus going to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Doubles with somebody and Nathan shows you.
If someone says, "Hey, can I go to the bathroom?" I'm not gonna be like, "Well, yeah, but if I catch you drinking out of the water fountain,
Right up instantly.
right? But I mean, if you tell me you're going to go to the bathroom, I don't need specifics here, but it's understandable. You might be gone several minutes. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could legitimately go to the bathroom to do bathroom things for several minutes. But if you told me you're going to get a drink of water,
Maybe he's really thirsty.
I mean, look, let's be real. The man's probably on his phone. You know, but like, I'm not going to leave my classroom and go check out this man in the stall. That'd be weird.
Yeah, it would be weird to check out a student in the stalls.
You think he's vaping?
Yes. No.
I don't. I don't think that's him.
Louis doesn't love
I
that.
actually get the vibe that Louis is actually a good guy.
Yeah, you gotta make everything like he might be.
I mean, if you knew Louis last year, you would have known that man 100% is a phone addict.
Oh yeah.
But he was never belligerent or aggressive about it. You know, like the man just did nothing in class because he was addicted to his phone. It's kind of sad, to be honest.
So this.
Okay, boys and girls, we're gonna move on to the next part. I really feel like you've had enough time to do whatever it is you know you need to do. So I'm gonna make a new part, and this will be the last part that I make for you with this activity. I do not have any intent or goal to make you a CAD expert in this course. It's not because I can't do it. It's not because I don't care to do it. This is not a CAD class. And it takes considerable time to get really good at this. We could spend months on CAD. Some of you might really want to do that. Some of you probably are already hating yourself with CAD. So we're going to do what we set out to do, which is just get a little vibe, and we're going to move on. Okay? Not going to drag you all through this if you don't want to do it. If you do really like CAD, I would encourage you to, we have the CAD class I offer. I run every spring. I usually get about a dozen people in there. Some of them are kids I have never seen before and will never see again. Some of them I've seen in engineering and or robotics already. It kind of just depends, on the individuals. But I mean, I do think that by the end of the class, I can say, "You good, my dude?"
I had to take a crap.
Okay, that's valid. That's valid. It's just you didn't ask to go to the bathroom. You asked to get a drink, and I was like,
I should put money on it.
I was thinking I was coming back and was gonna say, dude, that water was hidden. But that water was good.
all right, let's make our last part, gentlemen.
Last shake.
I am not walking you through this. I am just quickly showing you stuff. If I go too fast, too bad. You can just watch the stream, number one. And also, this is just to show you some ideas. It's not actually a tutorial because you should already know most of the stuff now to make basic shapes. So I'm just going to show you a few things here. You could do this in multiple steps. For example, I could sketch on the front thing, on the front plane, and I could sketch an L shape like this. And then I could extrude that.
It's a bad.
And then after extruding that, I could put in holes. I could round this front edge, right? I could do that. That's a way to do this. All right. I could also make a sketch on the top. You can almost think of it as the bottom plane. And I could do a rectangle. And I could extrude that. And then I could draw here. And I could do like another rectangle. And then I could extrude that. You have lots of options there. Okay? I could do that. And then I could round this, put in holes. If I go this route, I could even draw the holes and do the rounding in this sketch. So see, I could put my hole there and my hole there. Okay?
Whoa.
I could round this. I'm going to show you how to do rounding in a moment. Okay, but I could do it in the sketch. And then when I extrude it, right, I already have my holes. This second extrusion, instead of drawing on this, I could have instead decided to draw on the top of this shape and extrude up. There's all of these different ways I could have done this. And I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons of each of them. So looking at this part, if I want to think about what's the best way to do this, there's two things that I run through in my mind. One is, what's the most efficient and intuitive way to do it? I actually probably should have said efficient or intuitive, because they're not one the same. If you're making it a very convoluted way, that's not good. But also, in my mind, another thing I'm going to think about is, what's the easiest way to edit it later? Right? Like if I decide I want to change it later, what might be a good way to make it that's going to be easy to change later? I want you to be really creative here, really think about this. If that part was going to be edited in the future, what properties of it do you think would be most likely to be changed or modified? There's not necessarily a specific answer I'm looking for. I want you to think. Just think. What aspects of that part would probably be the most likely to be modified if I realize I need to change something?
Length.
Okay, I could change the overall length or height, overall dimensions. Okay, it's valid. It's very valid. What else? It's not a trick question. If you're struggling to answer the question, just think, what is something about that part I could modify or edit? That should not be a hard question to answer. Just think about something. What's something? Anything that could be. I mean, here's the dimensions. What could I change about that part?
Placing of the holes.
Okay, I could shift the holes around. Now, I'm going to ask a different question. Use some logic here. So you mentioned the placing of the holes. I agree with you. I think that's something that very reasonably can say, you know what, we want to adjust this. I want you to look at that picture. I want you to really think, what is something about the holes that's probably never going to change?
How much they
Their
were.
size.
How deep they are.
Okay, what about the depth?
Like how deep into the shape it is.
How deep do they go?
It doesn't say.
It does, actually.
Wait.
Well, that's not true. It's implied because it doesn't say.
Okay.
How far down do they go?
Is it
It's not a trick question.
half a millimeter?
I'll give you an answer. You can answer this without using numbers.
All the way.
They go all the way, right? That's probably not going to change, right? What else is probably not going to be changed about the position of the holes? What specific part about their position probably will not change no matter what?
Their height, like compared to actual shape.
We've already established they're going to go all the way through no matter what, probably. Do you agree that you would need two numbers to determine their location? What do you think about that? You need two numbers to determine their location. They only gave you one number, though. They only told you where the holes were in this direction. You see that? What didn't they tell you? Like with a number, explicitly dimensioned. See all these people just playing games or just doing random stuff on the computer.
I'm working.
I didn't say any names. Didn't accuse any individuals. Part of being an engineer is like answering questions like this, not just like making a one-off brain dead easy part in CAD. Like nobody needs you to make this in CAD. This is like a super easy part. So here's the problem solving. I want you to think about this part. You don't know what it's used for, but just use some logic and intuition here. there are some of these dimensions that conceivably might be edited in the future, modified. Think about the placement of these holes. What number is not actually shown on there in regards to where those holes are positioned? They did not actually dimension it, it's implied.
That number of holes?
Well, you can count the number of holes. You wouldn't have to say that with a number. I mean, they told you how far apart they are in this direction, right? We just discussed that it's implied they go all the way through. What else is implied?
So like they're in the middle of the width of one thing.
They're in the middle of the width, right? They're symmetric, right? There's equal amounts of space on both sides of the hole, yeah? They're effectively centered with the shape. This shape is symmetrical. We see that? So that's really important, because if you were to draw this with symmetry in mind, and then it turns out that you edit it to not be symmetrical, that would be a very poor idea. But if you have a reason to believe that the symmetry is never going to be broken, they would always want this shape to be symmetrical, then it might make sense to draw this shape symmetrically from the very beginning. We understand? Yes, say yeah. So I'm going to show you two things. How to force it to be symmetrical and how to do the curve. Okay? That's what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to really make this part in full detail. So I'm going to sketch on the top plane. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. And then I'm going to watch what I do to do the end. I'm going to use the circle feature. You actually can snap to the midpoint of a line. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's that orange square. You guys see that? Where my cursor is? You can snap to the midpoint of a line. That's a way to do a curve. It's not the only way, but it's a way. It's a very fast way. This is like when I drew two rectangles on top of each other to make that L shape the last time, or that T shape rather. You can use the scissors tool, the trim tool right here. Yeah. I could trim away the parts that I don't want or need. Okay. That's an option. You could also use the arc tool. So I could draw using the line tool. I don't know if I line those up, but you know what? I'll use a constraint real quick to line those up. To use the arc tool, it's right next to the circle tool. If you want to know how to use the arc tool, I'm going to show you right now. You got different ways that you can do this. The 3-point arc and the center point arc. The 3-point arc, you place one endpoint, you place the other endpoint, and then the third click dictates the center. And just basic logic, the center should line up right there to be in line with those points. You can see that I can't move my cursor to it without moving my line, but that orange square is there. That's a way. There's also the center point arc. So you click this drop down, center point arc. You actually place the center first, and then you place one end, and then you place the other end. The problem is I have to know where the center is then. I think the center point arc makes more sense when I already know where the center is going to be. You know, it's like already on something. And then I could, even in this drawing, I could draw the circles. Now, I'm going to show you some things that you could use to make this go faster or be easier. You have all of these constraints. Right next to the dimension tool is another set of tools called constraints. And you have all of these constraints. So for example, I could use the equal constraint. I could click on this top part, and then I could click on this bottom part, and they're now equal lengths. I could click on this circle, with the equal constraint and then click on this other circle, they're now the same size. Watch. I make this circle bigger, the other one grows with it. Okay? You can use constraints to do that. If I want to line things up, I have the vertical and horizontal constraints. So watch. I can click on horizontal, and if I click on the center of this arc, and then I click on the center of this circle, they're now lined up horizontally. And watch what that means here. I haven't dimensioned anything, but notice I cannot move these circles up and down without making them still centered with the shape. It's not possible. I can move them side to side. I can make them smaller, but then notice that they both get smaller, right? Constraints can save you a lot of time. Imagine if I decided I want to change the size of the circle. If I had 17 circles, imagine if I dimensioned each individual circle. That would suck, right? But if I said them all would be equal to each other, if I ever want to change the dimension, I would just have to change the dimension from 1. Yeah? I want to quickly dimension these things. Looks like this is 1 inch wide. That was very weird. I think my thing like froze or something. It's like it's lagging. Very bizarre.
So are we
Bizarre.
Huh? What? You asked a question, but I didn't hear what you asked.
Sorry, are we doing this in inches then? Since we
I mean, yeah, I mean it's clearly in inches. I mean, it says that, and then it has. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in inches.
oh,
I'm going to show that actually. Yeah. I did show you before, but I'm going to show it again anyway. So this is what I would do. I'm just kind of prettying this up. Notice that I dimensioned the width and the length, or I don't know what you want to call these. Technically, for this orientation, it's looks like a height, and this is a width, but I mean it's going to be oriented like that. I dimensioned those. I didn't have to dimension this because it's just basic math. If this is a semicircle and this width is 1, then this is going to have a diameter of 1. It's going to have a radius of half, which adds up to this to give 3, which is the overall thing. Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. Number 1, can I become a paid member on your YouTube channel? You know what that is?
A paid member, like I don't. It's not a monetized channel.
Also, why? So I've heard from Chase. Why did you let him make waffles in a waffle maker?
Because you want to make waffles and waffle maker.
At a waffle maker, so why not?
You get a waffle maker, waffle mix, and like all the ingredients in a backpack.
Why not? You don't keep that in your backpack?
It just seems like a bad idea.
Oh, they let Cecilia Hine make waffles during COVID at the gym.
Yeah. So like, can I bring an air fryer and like a frozen pizza?
I don't want an air fryer or anything that's resembling like a conventional oven.
I have an air fryer, so.
I think the waffle maker. I've actually had students have brought waffle makers or very, very, very similar things actually in the past. The thing with a waffle maker, right, is it's kind of closed, right? Like you pour your batter in and then you close it, right? You don't have open flames. You don't have this like hot surface that's just out in general. You're not dealing with like hot air currents or like if it was like a, if you got oils or whatever, you know what I mean? I think that definitely adds to the level of risk. A waffle thing, being closed, I mean, you can do stupid things, but I mean, kids can do stupid things with the knives and the scissors and all the tools I have in here. Yeah, a waffle maker is not bad. I would not want I don't know if you've seen, you can have effectively portable ovens and stove tops. I don't want that in here.
Okay. I was gonna say.
No, we had students grill, but we obviously did that outside. The old building, I had exterior access directly from my room. And we had the seniors, like their last full day, they grilled stuff. But it was done outside, you know. Obviously, that would be stupid to do inside.
Okay, so who in this class wants to have like a huge waffle party?
That sounds awesome.
That sounds amazing.
Well, Chase is in the other class, so I mean. I think he said he did in ELA.
I'll have a waffle.
He just makes a waffle every class.
No, he told me it wasn't the same day, it was like a day or two after he said he made waffles in Benny's class.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So I didn't try that in this class.
So here's how I would line these up. Okay, what I would do is I would do a horizontal constraint, and I would line up this center point with this one here, and then I do the same thing for each of them. And I already used an equal constraint. This might have been obvious to you, but this stands for typical. I wouldn't expect you to know that, but I think you might have implied that these are the same size, these two holes. And that's what this technically means. It stands for typical. So it means that's dimensioning this, and things that look like they're the same size are in fact the same size. So they don't have to dimension them.
The horizontal plane and selecting both circles in the line of these three horizontal, but it's not linear.
Well,
You would need to for.
they are definitely lined up with each other, but you didn't line them up with something else. You don't line them up with like a midpoint or something else.
Like
You click on the same constraint you just did, and you click on one of them, and then you click on the thing you want to line up with, just like you did the circles. This is me personally, I would never reference them to each other. I would always reference them to the same thing as grounded. That's just me personally. In this case, but other cases you might do the exact opposite. It just depends. So there's only two, it doesn't really matter that much. I think this is what, 1/2 an inch tall? Yeah.
it's a lot of inches.
Yeah, this is all inches, yes.
How do you ground them?
And you what?
You said ground them. What does that mean? We ground.
Like I'm using the horizontal constraint to determine their location, right? Okay, think of it this way, like in carpentry. Imagine that I was going to place something every foot along the wall. If I measure from the wall to the first one 1 foot, and then I measure 1 foot from the first one to the second one, right? Every time I do that, I'm compounding error. If I'm off by 1/8 of an inch on the first one, right? The second one now has a propensity to be off by 1/8 of an inch, even if I make that measurement perfectly, right? The smart choice would be to measure to the wall every single time. And that's what I'm reinforcing here. I would set each of them to be horizontally aligned with the same point rather than aligned to each other. Whereas if there's a situation where they should all move together and that location might be different, maybe I would set them all equal to each other and then the end one would be set to something else. It just depends on the circumstance. I think realistically with this one, you don't want to overthink it. In any case, this is not that bad of a shape to make. I kind of showed you different things that you can do. I'm not going to say that there's one way to do this that's like best even. I think there's multiple ways to do this. I think different people might think differently on what makes the most sense to them. It's fine. that concludes that. So we're going to end the stream.
Okay.
Because we obviously don't need that anymore. I kind of showed what I need to show.